Apparently.
All right. So, you can look at me. What do you think of the trade?
In all actuality, I like the trade because we get two promising young players. We get a pick, and we get somebody who wants to come in and play defense. Unfortunately, Melo didn't want to play defense, so he could take his talents to New York, which is what LeBron would say. But it's a good trade. It's a good trade. I think it worked out well.
Are you glad it's over? Were you kind of sick of the whole?
I'm glad it's over. I'm glad that we got Felton out of it. I think he's a really good player. I'm glad that we got some picks out of it as well.
Are you even a basketball fan around? Have you been to a game yet this year?
Yeah, I've been to a couple games this year, and I'm a really big basketball fan. And if you're not going to win with Melo, it's time to get rid of him, right, and get something else and start to rebuild.
We got 4 out of 5 of their starters in New York. Was it a fair trade? Was it an even trade, you think?
Yeah, I think it was a great trade. He's going to be gone next year anyways. So you actually just maximized your potential by getting 3 other players that will probably make our roster, 2 that won't, and you got some other draft picks that are going to come into play as well. Hopefully, I know that the Nets were talking about coming in and taking some of those players. We'll see what happens with that, but hopefully we get to keep on to Felton.
How'd you find out? Sitting in here?
I found out a little bit earlier today, but actually sitting in here, I actually saw the finalized offer.
All right, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no
Try and
problem.
spell your first and last name.
Steven with the V, S-T-E-V-E-N, and Armstrong, A-R-M-S-T-R-O-N-G, like Lance.
All right. You're eating. I won't talk to you if you don't want.
I was just going to read out. I don't really have a whole lot to say. I just think that Carmelo's a douche when we drafted
what?
He was a douche when we drafted him. He was a douche when we traded him. So, good riddance.
We won't use that one. All right.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
I was gonna ask you guys.
Ask me. What's your name? Tim. All right. Tim, you can look at me and just ignore this big camera. What do you think of the trade? What do you think about being a New Yorker?
At first I was excited about the prospect of him going to New York, but I think New York gave up too much. They got rid of a lot of good young talent on that team, and I think in the long term it's going to hurt him. I mean, Carmelo's a 7-year veteran now, he's got, Chauncey's been 12 years in the league, so he's good for 2 or 3 more. Carmelo has 4 or 5 more, really productive years. I don't know.
They got 4 out of their 5 starters out of New York. It's a pretty good deal. And then some.
They got 4 of their 5
starters.
The Nuggets, yes, they did, and 3 draft picks.
God, that's crazy.
A first round and 2 second rounds. So, and the Knicks get besides Carmelo and Chauncey, they get Anthony Carter, who sits at the end of the bench. They got Sheldon Williams, who sits at the other end of the bench. Who else did they get? Bachman, who used to be a Knick, and they got rid of him. There's a reason they got rid of him. So I don't know. I don't know that that's a great deal for the Knicks. And I'm also a Nuggets season ticket holder, so I don't know. For the next year or so, I think, it's going to take a while for those people to meld in with what the Nuggets are going to do. So
they don't play each other. They've already played their one game.
They had played twice, one home and away. Yeah, so they played twice. Yeah. So the Knicks lost here and beat the Nuggets in New York, I believe.
But you live in Denver now, right?
I live in Denver.
Where's your allegiance? Still with the Knicks?
Knicks, yeah. I've always been a Knicks fan. I'll die a Knicks fan. I am a Ranger fan. I am. I'm a Mets fan.
Rangers play the Bruins.
Yeah, he's not a Boston. He just likes the B on his hat.
All right, anything else?
That's it for me. These guys can weigh in.
I got something.
All right.
I got one thing I want to say.
What's that? Go ahead.
All I want to say is that I truly think that this could end up being the greatest era of the NBA that we've ever seen. Now, in my opinion, the 80s, when you got Magic and Larry Bird and Michael Jordan, it doesn't beat that. But now that you've got Carmelo Anthony going to the Knicks in a place where obviously all the history, the importance of having a huge city like New York to be able to be a front runner in the NBA. You got the Miami Heat, you got Orlando and Boston on the east side. That is going to make for amazing television. The playoffs, it's going to be the most amazing time in NBA, in my opinion, that we've ever seen. Then you got the Lakers and all those guys on the other side. I mean, the East is much more heavily favored now, but I just think the competition and the overall camaraderie of the playoffs, it's going to be amazing television.
So you think the Knicks have a chance then?
I do. I really do. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think that Carmelo Anthony and the other guy. Well, I love Chauncey, but I was talking about Amari Stoudemire. I don't think that they can necessarily win a championship right now, but I think it's going to be tough. I mean, those 4 seeds, they're going to be fighting it out. I think there's always a possibility. You know, I don't see them winning it now, but if they can get a couple more pieces, you know, at the end of next year, they're going to have a chance to get either the guy from New Orleans, he's slipping my mind, Chris Paul, or they bring in another heavy hitter point guard, Darren Williams from Utah. Who knows what can happen? So it's going to be pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, well, thanks, you guys.